Hey everybody, this is Bob and Phil with Trade Genius, our podcast today. Bitcoin, everybody's expecting it to moon, but I may have some FUD for you. Stay tuned.
Trade Genius.
Hey guys, really briefly before we jump into this video, appreciate all the likes and subscribes, and if you can ring that notification button, that really helps us out. In addition to that, if you guys don't mind, head over to tradegenius.co, check out our specials we have over there. We're running our February specials. There's a number of different specials with different packages for all different experience types. If you're more into education, we have a package for that. If you just like to get into the room, primarily, we have a package for that as well, where you can see where we're calling out trades and things like that live, and also posting signals into our Discord signal rooms. So check it out, tradegenius.co. Appreciate you doing that.
Hey Phil, so before we get into the crypto talk, I think we had maybe a little bit of macro to share with some folks, and then let's talk Bitcoin, and then I'll show some Bitcoin stock charts for everybody. So give people perspective because where we are. I'm going to throw the floor over to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we've had a really big pump. A lot of it, I think, fueled by more derivative short squeezing than spot buying, that's really key for me. You know, if we're getting a spot driven rally, then I think that's something that that has a lot of legs. But if it's just short squeezing, then we have to see, you know, how is that relative to what's going on in the macro markets. But what I wanted to show you guys first, and then we're going to dive right into the charts, is the Philadelphia Fed Business Outlook Survey. Now you might be like, why am I talking about this when we're talking about crypto? But if you look at where the reading is there on the right, and you look at the other times we were getting down into these levels, you'll see that there's this red shaded area, this column of red, that's representative of recessions. So we're getting a very recessionary reading on the Philly Fed Business Outlook Survey, which is a pretty good indicator of where the people that are doing business think the economy's headed. And it's pretty obvious that they're getting very bearish in their sentiment, and that almost always equates to a recession. So you have this macro recession outlook, and now you have to look at your crypto and say, okay, crypto or even Bitcoin, because it goes back the farthest in time, has never truly been in a recession. So if we're going into a recession, can we expect the cycle to be the same? And I would argue that I don't think you can really expect the cycle to be the same. So that's kind of what we're up against. So let's take a look at the chart. Now you'll notice here, we've had this great pump. If we zoom in, what happened here? What did we do? We came up to the August weekly high and we just clipped it. I know it's a little hard to see on the chart there, but we actually did exceed that high. So we got that weekly high from August. That's a big, in bear markets, that's a very telltale area to look for shorts. Going to be honest. And also the thing I'd point out is we're getting our algo sell signal on the weekly. Now, this fires off in Discord for intraday signals, but it applies to the higher timeframes too. And you can see on the chart where that's fired off here, and we've gotten definitely bearish reactions in the following weeks. So it's not a signal I would ignore, and it's implying that we're going to see probably a down week, if not weeks, coming into this. And the other thing that we can take a look at too is kind of what's happening with the stock indices, because we've been saying be careful up here, and today we started to roll over. So if you take a look at what's going on here, you'll notice we kind of cracked this trend line that's been holding up this trend, right? And so if we zoom out, you can see in this bear market, that's been a telltale sign of more down. We've held a trend here, broke it, held the trend line here, broke down. We're doing the same thing here. And you'll notice too, we're gapping down on the SPX. Now, this is the ES, so it trades continuously through the night. SPX doesn't, so it wakes up and it's gapped down. And that's been also a clue on some of these larger moves down, where we see as we start to roll over, you get these gap down moves to kind of start it. You can see here, very big breaks here on these gaps. So you don't want to ignore what's happening. And especially if we start breaking down this level here, it opens us up for quite a bit lower. And you can tell too, our fair values been over euphoria. And on the chart, if you zoom out where we get these high prints on fair value, look where they coincide with, right? So, and that's why we've been saying, be careful here, because, much like August, I think we had the same sentiment, and our readings were like saying, hey, be careful up here. And it was just crank, all of a sudden, whoa, what happened, right? And then very swift move down. And the reason why these moves are swift is because the Fed's not pumping, the Fed's tightening, right? Big difference from what we've seen in the past. So, this is just starting to play out to what we saw. It's very important for this 40-50 level in the SPX to hold, and that's going to help crypto if it does. If it doesn't, crypto's probably not going to be able to withstand the drawdown in the equity market. So that's kind of like the big picture here. And then Bob's going to show us some other crypto related stocks. So let's dive into Bob's charts.
Hey, Phil, the first chart I want to show everybody here is the Global X blockchain. And the reason we're showing these charts, not everybody's comfortable trying to get a Coinbase account or a Kraken account. And with all the crazy things with custody, you're missing out on some great opportunities, because what you can do in the stock market with these crypto related companies that is more difficult to do in the pure crypto world is that you can write calls and puts against your position. You can hedge your position. You can do different things with it. So I want to show you Bitcoin, the Global X blockchain, but I want to show you something even more important. So I'm out here on a daily chart. You see this dotted line here? This is 2.3 standard deviation linear regression. This is huge. We trade this on the hourly, 4 hourly, the daily. And whenever you get a price action that pierces it and comes back in, especially if it's downward sloping, usually caps the move. And then you look for what we call the Eiffel Tower effect. So you go back to the beginning here and you take the measured move up here, and you're looking probably go back to, you usually go back about 80% of the move gets retraced. Okay. Now, if it doesn't, this is the area of support that we look at next on our Ranger on a daily. And so this pulled back, and then it did something else that's very bearish. It's made the lower high, and it failed again. So now we're watching here to see if this support holds and to see if our heat index lines up a buy for us. But this is indicating down. Worst case scenario, you're looking at an 80% retracement there. So then the next one I want to look at is Mara, because Mara's been doing a great run. Mara didn't even get up to the second 2.3 Lin reg, but it's sporting the same action. If you notice that, Bitcoin made a new high, but the Bitcoin related stocks did not. And they failed. And that's kind of a warning flag, because I look at Mara and Blockchain X and Coinbase. These are the guys that have inside knowledge of where they think Bitcoin pricing is going to go. And they already started pulling back ahead of it. And the third one is Coinbase. I think Coinbase had a bit of a blow off. Again, downward sloping fill, broke up over, came up again with a lower high, broke down again. And so once again, we're looking for a move, potential retrace of 80% of this move higher. So just bear that in mind. And if you trade with us, you already know these on the daily. Look at this as your support area. If it holds here and it starts making higher lows again, then we're in a position here where it's triangling out. It's going to go higher. But based on liquidity fill that we're seeing in the markets, and also one thing that people don't realize is that there's competition now for the assets of equity and crypto, and it's the bond market. You can get a 3-month treasury bill at 4.81%, probably a little bit higher today. And that's at zero risk, in an environment where, basically February into April is the weakest period of the year. There might be a lot of people just will opt out into cash, hide themselves for 60 to 90 days and roll back out. And you can need to get out of these T-bills and T-bonds with very little capital loss, because there's such short maturities that, it's really a no-brainer for people to say, I'm just getting the heck out of Dodge for 30 or 60 days, and it's going to suck more liquidity out of the market. So I kind of want to show those charts to people too, is that there's a lot of ways to play, especially if you're long Bitcoin. You don't want to sell it. You don't want to touch it. You have BITI, you have Mara, Blockchain X, you have Coinbase. You have Riot. There's a lot of ways in which you could play and hedge and also take short bets on crypto without necessarily being bearish, if you will. So that's kind of what I want to show people, Phil. And the market's playing out as we suspected it would. If we have follow through next 2 weeks, then I think we're lining up to get that spring pullback that we've been looking for before we get some more energy to go higher.
Yeah, into the end of the month. Yep. All right. Yeah, so that's going to do it. Let us know your thoughts on the video. If you guys are looking at crypto as well, what are you looking at? What coins have you guys been trading? Again, we think we've got to be careful up here because we took out the August highs. And so let us know your thoughts on that as well. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. And also please ring that notification bell. Really helps us out with the YouTube algo. And we'll see you on tomorrow's video. Take care.
Trade Genius.